Hello, I'm Tom Harris with the International Climate Science Coalition Canada. You can check us out on the web at icsc-canada.com. I'd like to tell you about a new project that freedom lovers in Ottawa have just started. It's called Project Trumpet. It's to stand up for common sense and good ideas in our society against what we're seeing as the woke left extremists who've taken over many of our institutions. They've taken over our universities, they've taken over our corporations, our businesses, our churches, the media, of course. These people are being influenced by a strange philosophy called postmodernism. You see, postmodernism rejects the fundamentals of the Enlightenment. They effectively reject the ideas of classical liberalism. That would include things like respect for alternative points of view, the welcoming of open, unbiased debate, people who actually have a good heart and they want to make the right decisions for society, but they may disagree with each other, and that should be fine according to the fundamentals of the Enlightenment. They also reject evidence-based decision making. In fact, they even reject science itself. I mean, this is a very weird and dangerous philosophy. In fact, since the fall of communism in Eastern Europe, this is the greatest threat to our modern world that we face today. So Project Trumpet is going to be attending events, public hearings, town halls, meetings, debates, things like that, that we can actually ask questions afterwards. We will ask questions that are very important, but very inconvenient to the powers that be, to the extreme leftists who are following postmodernism. For example, in the climate change debate, we'll ask questions like, okay, since 1880, it's warmed on average around the world about 1.2 degrees Celsius. How can you call that a climate emergency? Or in other areas such as, oh, there's more than two genders, boy and girl, when you're talking to young children? I mean, this is pretty crazy stuff. So we're going to take a page right out of the ideas that are used by progressives to actually inject into the public mind doubt about some of these more crazy ideas. And in particular, in Project Trumpet, we get together ahead of time and we decide on questions that we're going to ask in the Q&A to the various people involved. And in particular, right now, as a pilot project, we're taking climate change. And in particular, we're focusing on the debates of the different candidates for mayor of the City of Ottawa. And in fact, there are a number of those going on. There's 4 in total. 1 has already happened in Barhaven. And we had 5 people there who asked somewhat inconvenient questions. It was videotaped, and so it can influence a lot of people. The next session, I should just point out, is coming up in Kanata on Tuesday, August 30th from 6 to 8 p.m., Walter Baker Park, Kanata Recreation Center, I should say. And this is at 100 Charlie Rogers Place. The next one is in Orleans, Wednesday, September 7th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Orleans United Church, 111, 4 ones, Orleans Boulevard. And the big one is a moderated debate, Centretown, Wednesday, September 28th from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Centretown United Church, 507 Bank Street. So what we do is we actually meet ahead of time and divide up the questions. We decide who's going to ask what. And sometimes we'll have people follow each other up. For example, we might have someone say, oh, should we be spending almost $60 billion on the Ottawa climate change plan when Ottawa puts out only about 1/100th of 1% of world emissions? The answer that we got, and in fact the answers that we can expect to get in the future, is, oh, Ottawa has to set an example to lead the world. Well, a follow-up question, which can be asked by our next person in line, would simply be, oh, but do you realize that China and India together are expanding their use of coal over the next 2 years by 700 million tons per year? That's 100 million tons per year more than the complete coal usage in the United States this year. So the idea that we're leading anybody, when you consider China is the double the emissions of the United States, by far the leader in the world in emissions, if you accept the science of Kyoto, if you accept the science of the Paris Agreement, then we're not leading anybody, because no one except other Canadian cities like Calgary, which has spent it's going to spend $87 billion on stopping climate change. We have to just ask these questions, and then the public will start to ask them themselves. The success of this project will be when, perhaps by the 4th debate, people that we have not arranged to ask inconvenient questions, people just from the general public, not part of Project Trumpet, actually get up and say, hey, I don't really want to spend $60,000 for what turns out to be a 1/10,000th of a degree Celsius change if you accept the UN's climate change forecasts. So I hope you can get involved with Project Trumpet. We need three kinds of people. People who will go to the pre-debate meetings where we actually set up questions and divide them between each other and discuss what kind of answers we're looking for. Also, how we'll follow up when they give predictable answers, things like we have to lead the world. The second group of people we want to actually go to the event, to actually clap, if possible, when we speak, and so that sort of thing can actually undo the booing that we're going to get from the extreme environmentalists. And the third group will be people who share the video, and in particular indicate it. You can have t equals the number of seconds into a YouTube video, indicate exactly where our questions start, and share it with the public. The idea is to get more and more people to ask these crucially important questions that in fact are not being asked. Most of these events are, the organizers hope, just going to be pep rallies for their point of view. But we have to make it into something much more meaningful, where we can stop the kinds of things that are happening right now in all kinds of fields, and this one in particular in climate change. So thanks for listening. I hope you can join us. Bye-bye.